My name is Lily Allen. I'm 45 years old. The story I'm about to tell you happened exactly 2 years ago, on my daughter Mia's 14th birthday. That day was supposed to be the happiest day of her life. Instead, it became the day I finally saw my family for who they really were. I'm a single mother. My husband died in May 2022 in a sudden highway accident that still visits me in my sleep. One moment he was late for dinner. The next, I was signing papers I couldn't read through tears. After he died, the world didn't stop, but mine did. Mia was only 12 back then, a child who suddenly had to learn what silence sounded like in a house that used to laugh. Since that day, I made a promise to be everything for her: mother, father, protector, best friend. I even tried to believe my parents would step up. I was wrong. By the time the clock hit 6 o'clock p.m., 12 guests filled my living room. My parents, my older brother Alex, his wife Emily, and their son Mason. 2 kind neighbors, a few of Mia's school friends. And standing quietly near the kitchen was Ethan, my boyfriend. He didn't try to replace anyone. He just watched, listened, supported. And that night, I'm glad he did. The candles were lit. Mia closed her eyes and made a wish. I stood behind her, hands folded, heart full. For a moment, everything felt normal. Then came the gifts. Mia opened each one carefully, thanking everyone with that soft voice that still carried her father's warmth. Finally, she looked up at me. "Mom, aren't you giving me one?" I smiled. "Wait a moment." I walked into my office and brought out the box I'd hidden all evening. Whispers filled the room. When Mia started opening it, slow, careful, just like her father used to, I imagined her hugging me. Instead, Mason lunged forward. "Let me open it." In seconds, the wrapping was gone. He lifted the MacBook high and shouted, "It's mine now!" The room exploded with laughter. My parents laughed the loudest. Mia didn't. She cried. And that was the moment I knew this birthday would never end the way it began. The sound of my parents laughing didn't just fill the room. It filled my chest, like something hot and poisonous expanding behind my ribs. Mia's face crumpled the way paper does when it's soaked. Her eyes went wide, wet, confused. She looked around the circle of adults like she was waiting for someone, anyone, to correct the joke. But no one did. Mason held the MacBook like a trophy, chin lifted, shoulders puffed out, and then he walked straight toward his parents as if this had been rehearsed. And the worst part? It did feel rehearsed. My father stepped forward and patted Mason's head proudly. "My grandson is so good at opening gifts," he said, like Mason had just won an award. My mother leaned in with that sugary voice she saved for one child and one child only. "Mason is so clever," she cooed. "That reward rightfully belongs to you." Alex and Emily hugged their son. Emily even laughed like this was the cutest thing she'd ever seen. Like my daughter wasn't standing there, empty-handed, on her birthday, with tears sliding down her cheeks. Something inside me snapped so quietly I didn't notice until my feet moved on their own. I walked toward them, every step steady, but my hands were trembling so hard my nails cut into my palms. "Mason," I said, voice low, "give it back to Mia, now." Mason's defiant grin flickered, but only for a second. He backed up behind Alex like he knew exactly where the protection was. "No," he shot back. "I opened it first. That means it's mine." Then he shrugged, like it was the most logical thing in the world. "That's the rule." The rule. I stared at him for a beat. Not because I didn't understand what he said, but because I suddenly understood something worse. That boy didn't invent this. He'd been taught. I turned to Alex. "Are you serious right now?" My voice rose, sharp as glass. "Your son just stole my daughter's gift." Alex lifted his hands like he was the victim of my tone. "Oh my God, Lily, he's just a kid. Don't make a scene." A scene? I could feel Ethan move behind me. He didn't step in front. He just placed a hand lightly on Mia's shoulder, steadying her as if she might fold. Mia clung to his sleeve like she was drowning, and my chest tightened, because I realized Mia wasn't just crying over a laptop. She was crying over the fact that the adults in her life had just told her, without words, "You don't matter as much as he does." I stepped closer. "Mason," I repeated, louder this time. "Hand it over." Mason tightened his grip and looked to Emily. Emily's smile flattened. She gave him a tiny nod, subtle but clear. And then she turned to me, with a fake sigh, like I was the unreasonable one. "Come on," Emily said. "It's just a MacBook. Buy Mia something else. Let Mason have this one." Just a MacBook. My vision blurred, not from tears, from rage so sharp it made my eyes sting. I laughed once, bitter, humorless. "Have you ever," I asked her slowly, "given my daughter a gift worth more than $100? Emily's cheeks flushed. Why do you always bring up money? She snapped. I leaned forward, locking eyes with her. It's not about money, it's about pattern. Then I gestured toward Mason, who was still clutching the MacBook. You've been stingy with my daughter for years, and now you want me to be generous with your son? Emily opened her mouth, closed it, couldn't answer. Alex's jaw clenched. He stepped forward and grabbed my wrist as I reached out. You can't fight with the child, he hissed, like I was attacking Mason. I yanked my arm back. I'm not fighting with a child. I'm fighting with grown adults who raised him to think stealing is a personality trait. A gasp went through the room. And finally, someone else spoke. Mr. Johnson, my elderly neighbor, stood up. His voice was stern, the kind of stern that doesn't shake. I've never seen anything like this, he said. This is Mia's birthday. You can't steal the child's gift. Mrs. Miller nodded hard. What kind of parenting is this? Letting your son snatch gifts and then being proud of it? Mia's friends had gathered around her now, whispering comfort, wiping her tears with the sleeves of their dresses. And for a second I thought, good. Pressure was building, eyes were turning, shame was creeping in. Surely Alex would tell Mason to give it back. Surely my parents would realize they'd gone too far. Surely. My father took a slow step forward, like he was walking into a courtroom where he expected to win. Lily, he said, voice heavy with authority, give that MacBook to Mason. I'll pay you back. The words hit me like a slap. Not because he offered money, but because he said it as if Mia had never existed. I stared at him and something ugly curled in my throat. I laughed again. Not happy, not amused. The laugh of someone who just found out their whole life has been a lie. Alex snapped. What are you laughing at? You think this is funny? I turned my head slowly, letting my gaze sweep over them all. My parents, my brother, Emily, Mason. Then I said the truth out loud. I'm laughing at the favoritism. My mother stiffened. Lily, he's your father. Respect him. I nodded once, like I was agreeing. Fine. I took a breath, forcing my voice calm. If Dad wants to buy it, the price is $4,000. Alex's eyes widened. Are you joking? A MacBook worth $4,000? Is it studded with diamonds? I didn't blink. It's not for one MacBook, I said evenly. It's for two. Silence. I watched realization creep into their faces, slow and reluctant. If Dad is buying back this MacBook so Mason can have one, I continued, then he needs to buy Mia one too, because she's also his granddaughter. Then I tilted my head toward my father, voice turning colder. Or did you forget that? My father's hands clenched. My mother's lips parted, but nothing came out. Alex stared at the floor like he'd suddenly found something fascinating there. And Mia? Mia looked at me with watery eyes, hope flickering faintly. The room felt like it was holding its breath. Then my mother, finally finding her voice, said in that familiar lecturing tone, the tone she used to tame me as a girl, families need to know how to sacrifice for each other. You're almost 45. Why don't you understand that yet? Sacrifice. I tasted the word like it was rotten. Then I asked quietly, when my husband died, did you love Mia more? My mother froze. When Mason got $2,000 for tuition last year, I continued, each word steady, deliberate, did Mia get a single cent? My father's nostrils flared. When you took Mason to Hawaii, I said, Mia stayed home with me, watching other kids post vacation photos like she didn't deserve joy too. And for Mason's birthday, my voice sharpened. You gave $3,000 for a party. I pointed at the cake table. And Mia's gifts? Dollar store trash you grabbed last minute. My mother's face went pale. The silence that followed was thick enough to choke on. For a moment, no one moved. No one breathed. Then my father's voice cut through the air like a blade. Enough. He stepped forward with heavy, angry steps. And before anyone could stop him, he reached for the MacBook in Mason's hands. The entire room went dead quiet. Mia's eyes widened. My heartbeat slammed. Because in that second, I truly believed he was finally going to do the right thing. My father grabbed it, lifted it, and raised it high. Way too high. My stomach dropped, and I realized, with terrifying clarity, he wasn't giving it back. He was about to destroy it. Time didn't slow down. It shattered. My father lifted the MacBook above his head with both hands, his face twisted, not with regret, not with doubt, but with rage that had been simmering for years. Before anyone could speak, before Mia could scream, he slammed it into the floor. The sound was violent, a sharp, echoing crack that ripped through the living room like a gunshot. The screen split apart instantly. The keyboard flew off. Plastic and glass exploded outward, skidding across the floor like shrapnel. In less than a second, over $2,000, my daughter's dream, her birthday. Gone. Mia screamed. It wasn't a normal cry. It was raw, broken, the kind of sound that comes from somewhere deep, where fear lives. She dropped to the floor, sobbing so hard her shoulders shook like she couldn't catch her breath. "This is punishment for being selfish," my father roared. The words echoed in the silence he'd created. Punishment. For a 14-year-old girl. For wanting her birthday gift. Something inside me snapped completely. I don't remember crossing the room, but suddenly my hands were gripping my father's collar, my knuckles white, my teeth clenched so hard my jaw ached. "What the hell is wrong with you?" I screamed. "Are you insane?" The room froze. No one moved. No one breathed. I felt my arm pull back. In that moment, I didn't see a father. I saw a threat, and I was ready to end it. Then, two small arms wrapped tightly around my arm. "Mom, stop!" Mia. Her face was pale, eyes wide with terror, not of her grandfather. Of me. "Please," she begged, her voice shaking. "Don't hit him. Please. I don't want you to go to jail. I don't want the police to take you away." Her fingers dug into my sleeve like she was anchoring herself to me. "Let go," I shouted, not even realizing I was yelling at her. "He destroyed your MacBook." She shook her head violently, tears streaming down her face. "I don't care," she cried. "Please, let's call the police. Not you hitting him. Please." Her words hit me like ice water. I froze, because I suddenly saw myself through her eyes. Not as her protector, but as someone about to disappear from her life forever. My arm dropped. My hands loosened. Behind me, Mr. Johnson stepped forward. "Lily," he said calmly, firmly, "listen to your daughter. Calling the police is the right thing." Mrs. Miller nodded. "This is destruction of property. There are witnesses." Without waiting for permission, Mr. Johnson pulled out his phone and dialed 911. My father straightened his collar like he was the victim. Then he looked at me with pure hatred. "You dare raise your hand at me," he snarled. "Remember this day." He turned to my mother, Alex, Emily. "Let's go." They started toward the door like nothing had happened, like my daughter wasn't still sobbing on the floor. I stepped in front of them. "Stop," I said coldly. "The police are coming. You're not leaving." My father's eyes burned. My mother looked at me like I was a stranger. Mason smirked. Then Mr. Johnson spoke again, gentler this time. "Lily, let them go. We'll stay. We'll testify. The evidence is clear." I hesitated. Then slowly, I stepped aside. They left. No apology, no remorse, not even a glance at Mia. Mason turned at the door and looked at us with defiance, like this wasn't over. The door slammed shut. The house fell silent except for Mia's quiet sobs. Then, something clicked in my mind. Something important. I ran. Out the front door, onto the porch. "Wait!" I shouted. My father was already in the driver's seat. He rolled down the window, a smug smile spreading across his face. "What is it?" he asked triumphantly. "You realized you were wrong?" I took a deep breath. "Yes," I said calmly. "I realized I was wrong." His smile widened. "I knew it," he said cheerfully. "Admitting fault, that's what makes you my daughter." While he was still smiling, I reached through the window, turned off the engine, pulled the keys out. The smile vanished. My mother gasped, "Lily, what are you doing?" I held the keys up. "I was wrong," I said softly, "for letting you borrow my car for the past 3 years." I leaned closer. "This is my car, and I'm taking it back." Their faces went white. Behind me, applause erupted. The guests had followed us outside. "Well done," Mr. Johnson said loudly. "Let them walk home. Serves them right." My father exploded. He jumped out of the car, threw open the trunk, and pulled out a hammer he always kept there. Seeing the hammer, I laughed. Not nervously, calmly. "If you hit me," I said, "you go to jail. If you smash my car, do you have money to pay for it?" His hand shook. "Stop talking to me like that," he screamed. "I'm your father." I looked him dead in the eye. "No," I said. "My father died the moment you smashed my daughter's MacBook." Then I turned around, took the keys, and walked back into my house, leaving them standing there, furious, humiliated, powerless. To them, that night was the end of our relationship. To me, it was only the beginning, because what I did next would make them pay for what they did to my daughter. The police arrived about 15 minutes later. 2 officers, 1 woman, 1 man, stepped into my living room and stopped short when they saw the floor. Shards of glass, twisted plastic, a MacBook reduced to fragments. It looked like the aftermath of a small explosion. I explained everything from the beginning. Slowly, clearly, my voice steady, even though my hands were still shaking. From Mason grabbing the gift, to my parents laughing, to my father lifting the MacBook and smashing it into the floor. When I finished, I led them to my office and pulled up the security footage. The entire room fell silent as the video played. Mia crying, my parents smiling, my father's raised arms. The female officer shook her head. The male officer kept writing without looking up. Mr. Johnson and Mrs. Miller gave sworn statements. Their words matched the footage perfectly. After an hour, the officers nodded. "We have enough," the female officer said. "We'll proceed." When they left, the house felt hollow. The guests stayed. They helped me clean. Piece by piece, we picked up the shattered remains of what was supposed to be a dream. I didn't mourn the money. I mourned the look on my daughter's face when she realized the adults who should protect her wouldn't. By 10 p.m., everyone had gone home. I knocked on Mia's bedroom door. It took 2 minutes before she opened it. Her eyes were swollen, red, exhausted. Then her gaze dropped to my hands. She froze. I was holding a brand new MacBook. Pink, her favorite color. Her mouth fell open. "Mom," she whispered, "you didn't have to." "I did," I said gently, "because no one gets to steal your joy." She broke down in my arms, this time crying with relief instead of pain. That night, after she fell asleep, I sat alone in my office. I watched the security footage again. Every laugh, every sneer, every second of cruelty. And then I made a decision. I uploaded the video. The caption was short: "Toxic family. From today on, my family is just my daughter and me." By morning, my phone was exploding. Hundreds of comments, thousands of shares. Relatives, friends, strangers. All on our side. My brother called first. "You ruined us," he screamed. "Emily and I might lose our jobs." "Good," I replied, and hung up. Then my father called. "You're a monster," he shouted. "No one shames their parents like this." "No grandfather smashes his granddaughter's birthday gift either," I replied, and blocked his number. That afternoon, I called a lawyer. His name was Robert. He watched the footage once. Then he looked at me and said, "We can win." And for the first time since my husband died, I felt like justice was finally standing beside me. The trial took place 1 month later. I remember walking into the courtroom holding Mia's hand, feeling how small her fingers were in mine, and how steady her grip had become. She didn't look scared. She didn't look excited either. She looked ready. My parents sat across the aisle. So did Alex, Emily, and Mason. None of them looked at us. The video was played on a large screen. Every laugh, every stolen second, every moment my father lifted that MacBook above his head. When the sound of its smashing echoed through the courtroom speakers, several people flinched. One woman in the gallery turned away. Mia didn't. She watched quietly, her jaw tight, her eyes calm in a way no 14-year-olds should have to be. My father's lawyer tried to call it an impulsive act. Robert stood up immediately. "Impulsive?" he asked coolly. He grabbed the device, raised it above his head, and slammed it down with full force. "That's intent." The judge agreed. The verdict was delivered swiftly. My father was ordered to pay. Full compensation for the MacBook. Emotional distress, damages for Mia. The total exceeded $25,000. But that wasn't the most important part. At Robert's request, the court issued a lifetime restraining order. My parents, Alex's family. They were barred from our home, Mia's school, any place we regularly visited, effective immediately. As we walked out of the courtroom, we passed them. They stared at us with hate in their eyes, but they said nothing. They couldn't. I didn't look back. 2 years have passed since that birthday. Mia is 16 now. She still uses that pink MacBook every day. She's learning to code. She talks about becoming a software engineer like her father once dreamed of. Our life is quiet, peaceful, free. We don't attend family gatherings. We don't answer concerned questions. And when someone tries to bring them up, I simply stand up and leave. Some wounds don't heal. They close and leave scars for a reason. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Never stay silent in the face of injustice. Family is not blood, it's respect. And your children come first, always. You are their last wall of protection, and that wall is never allowed to fall. My story ends here. Some people ask me if I'll ever forgive them. I already have. Forgiveness just doesn't mean access anymore.